Hello everyone, this is Cooking with Jason. So, today I thought I'd make a special treat for you all. Who doesn't love mac and cheese? I love mac and cheese. We all love mac and cheese. But this is no ordinary mac and cheese. It is simple to make, cheap to get. Most of it you can get from food banks. Food banks usually give out mac and cheese anyway, so I thought why not spice it up a little bit and make it a lot more tasty and make it a lot better for you and just make it last longer. So, we got here a little bit of beef. This is about, I'd say a couple of pounds of beef. I don't really know how much it is. I bought one of the big ones of beef. It was about $9. That should cover about 6 packages of mac and cheese. So you estimate how much that is. This is about 3 or 4 pounds, give or take. I don't know how many it is. Probably about 1 to 2 pounds, if that. We got half an onion. We got about 4 to 5 cloves of garlic, and we got some spinach, and we're gonna make spinach, onion, garlic, mac and cheese. I know, you are all wondering how to make this. Well, I'm gonna show you. Okay, let's go. And to top it all off, it's gonna be very little cleanup. Everything will be cooked in this pot. So, what we'll first want to do is we'll want to get our beef in there. Now, you're probably wondering how we're going to make the pasta not stick together. Well, thanks to the magic of stirring and the grease used from the beef, we're not going to have to use any oil at all. We're just going to use the grease that the meat produces by itself. Most meat produces grease on its own, so we can use that grease itself, and we thereby use the whole thing. We don't have to worry about it. This should feed about maybe 3 to 4 people. If they each have like 1 bowl, I think it should work. So that's how much I usually make. It should feed about 3 to 4, maybe 5 at the most. I think if you stretch it, it'll probably make about 5. Probably feed about 5 people for one night. So there's that. It's really good for parties. Really good for, you're gonna want to do that with the onions. Now I always do this. It's a little bit of a spreading method, just kind of, make sure everything gets equalized. So this is the onion. I'm not chopping the onions enough here, so we're gonna have to do that a little later while it's cooking. So what you want to do is you want to cook the beef with no water in the pot first. What this will do is it'll get the grease up and it'll get everything nice and cooked, so when you boil it, you won't have to worry about it already being cooked. This way no one has bad food or gets anything like that. Alright, so we got the onion all chopped up there. Let's get the garlic chopped up, and we're good to go. Now, if you want to cut these things smaller, I recommend you do. I like a big taste of garlic when I make food like this. So I like to make it a big taste way. But I also don't add in that much because garlic is one of those things that is very potent when you taste it. So a little goes a long way. This is kind of the boring part of all my videos. The chopping. Why don't we do more interesting things when we chop, Jason? Well, I don't really know what you want to listen to, so I can't play music because, you know, YouTube doesn't like music anymore. So, without copyright shit. So, I don't do that, and so there's that little drama. And then, I don't really know what to talk about when I'm chopping shit up. So, excuse my French. So, there's that. So chopping is always the boring part of these videos. I do apologize for that. It is not my intention to bore you. We are almost done with most of the chopping here. So, by the way, this will require no butter and no milk. We don't need milk or butter in case you don't like it or you're allergic to it. I have family that is allergic to most dairy products, so I don't make a lot of it with that. There isn't any milk in this, there is no butter in it, there's no added oil, there's just the oil you get from the beef. So only milk is in the cheese, is in the powdered cheese. Because it's box mac and cheese. We're just adding things to box mac and cheese. This is what I call lazy cooking. So we're going to wash our hands because we want to do that during this crisis times we are living in. 2020 is an amazing time. Amazing can be an adjective used in negative stances too, by the way. I'm not funny. Alright, so garlic is chopped up. Next, we're going to want to grab our wooden spoon and we're going to want to mix this around a little bit. Nothing is on, by the way. We're just mixing it around, kind of evenly distributed so that it cooks better. This is a little bit of pre-cooking methodology. So, there's that. You can also chop up any onion bits you didn't chop up, like Jason didn't with the spoon. A little bit here, like this one. And make things a lot easier for yourself. Now we'll add in some spinach. No, we're not going to use the whole bag. I have no idea how much we're going to use. I just get a handful. I just get a handful of spinach and I lay it out. And then I close it back up. And then all I do is it's actually a lot of spinach. But that's okay. This one will be extra spinachy. It's just fine by me. I like spinach. I like my spinach because Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm not funny. I am not hilarious. I am not a funny person. Don't mind me. I'm a dork. So, there's that. There's kind of spreading. Make it look pretty. I want things to look pretty. Because you also eat with your eyes as well as your mouth. We're almost done here. After this, we'll add our spices, and then we will add our a couple other things, and we'll be good to go afterwards. We're almost done. All right, let's turn this bad boy on. It's probably going to be a very boring video because you have to keep it on during the entire process in order to show you guys how to use one pot. So we're just going to stir it a little bit, and then we're going to cook. Put it on high and then lower it, and just make sure the vegetables are cooked and everything turned brown. We like the color brown for cooking. It'll make things easier. Now, what I like to do, because I like a little bit of extra cheese, I got some Parmesan here, and I sprinkle that a little bit on top of the meat. That's an extra step. You don't have to do that. I just like a little bit of extra cheese on my meat. After that, I put in a little Italian seasoning. I don't measure things, so don't ask me for measurements. A little bit of garlic. Yes, we like our garlic in this house because it keeps the vampires away. I'm not funny. And a little bit of onion powder. Okay. And that's it. We don't use any more spices in this. The rest is all just handiwork. The rest is all just stirring. Just keep it stirring. Make sure that there are no little spices sticking up on the end of it. You may have to get a spatula for that in case you're not very strong with the hands. My hands are pretty strong, so I can do it just a wooden spoon usually. That'll be a lot easier later on as the grease sets into the as the grease sets in. You won't have to worry about it so much. It's a really bad one there. I'm gonna have to. And yes, people will say, well, if you had butter, you wouldn't have to do that. Well, I'm not using more oil than I have to because it's fat. So don't question my methods. I mean, you can definitely add more oil if you want to do that. I would recommend olive oil if you do that, and lightly do it. But we like to minimize the amount of oil because even olive oil is bad for you. It's just not as bad as vegetable or as canola vegetable or other oils. So after all this, these are what we're going to use afterwards. We're going to use 2 packs of mac and cheese, 1 can of spaghetti sauce, and 1 can of diced tomatoes. Now there's a couple parts to this, so it's not complex, but there's some parts to it. So what you want to do when this is all browned up, which shouldn't take that long, maybe 5-10 minutes tops. Don't quote me on that. I'm not timing these things. But after that is all brown, what you're going to want to do is fill it up with water, not all the way, just about halfway, maybe a little bit more, about maybe 60% of the way. Give or take, let your eyes be the judge. You've been watching this channel for a little while now, so you should have some better skills. If this is your first video, I will try and show how much of water to put. I don't know how much exactly. I'll measure it out with a measuring cup. I do have one of those here. So I will try and measure it out for you for those beginners that might like my videos in later spaces. This is almost done, so it doesn't take that long to cook the beef and everything else. And you don't have to worry so much because when you boil it, you're going to cook it again. So if you miss some parts, it's okay. It's not a big deal. Stir around a little more like that. I think we're good. Turn it off. And now we're going to add our water. So we got That's about 1 cup. Again, more boring parts of our videos. It's about a little bit more than a cup. It's 2 cups. That's 3 cups. Don't listen to what the box says and then add additional water. You will probably overcook your pasta if you do that. They always put way too much water levels on these things. That's 3 cups, that's about 3 or 4 cups. This is cup number 5, I think. If you're counting better than my numbers, go ahead and do that in the comments below and tell me how many cups I'm putting exactly for to help people out. That's about 5 to 6. See, it would say 6 to 7. This is about 6 cups. This is number 7, roughly. Number 8. I think that's good. So about 8 cups of water. You don't need much more than that. 8 to 9, give or take, how big your pot is. Then you take this. This is the fun part. I tape these down because things will get into them sometimes. No, I don't have mice problems. It's just bugs sometimes that get into these things. So I tape these things down. Plus, if there isn't a lot of crap, worms will eventually have to get too old. So always check your pasta for shit when you get into food banks because you don't know what's in there. But this looks fine. All right, there's one. You take the cheese bag and you leave it off to the side. We'll get back to that later. We are going to use that. Second box. Pasta looks good. Set it off in there and we're fine. So the most expensive thing I bought on this was the meat, and that covered 6 boxes of mac and cheese. And that was one of those big things of meat. I bought an 81.19. You can probably get away with getting the cheaper ones and be fine. That was about $9-10. I bought a leaner one, so that's a little bit more expensive. The spices shouldn't be much, dollar here, dollar there. So I spent about $15-20. You will probably spend less because the garlic I got from a food bank, and this you can get from a food bank or from a grocery store for about $1. This is about $1. And the mac and cheese, if you want to buy it, I dare say $1.50, $2. So yeah, then you turn this back on. And we want to have it boil. So we'll just stir it like so. And then into that. Now, to speed this up, you can cover it. And what this will do is it'll insulate the heat and it'll make it boil faster. However, you're going to have to watch it. Cook it until it's al dente. Once it's al dente, taste it if you want to. You'll notice the texture will change to a white color, and the noodles will get bigger. Once that happens, add in your sauce and your diced tomatoes, and then add in your cheese packets. Stir that all around and mix it all up evenly. Make sure it has an even texture and an even look. and you got your mac and cheese pasta. It's that simple. Video doesn't take more than about 20 minutes. I'm not going to show the completed one. That will always be on my Facebook. I can show completed pictures if you want. Request them in the comments below. I will send you things. And that is the end. That is it. There's no more steps to this. You just make sure to boil it. Watch it. It's going to take some time. I don't know how long it'll take. 15, 20 minutes roughly. You know, just make sure you watch it. Make sure you keep an eye on it. Check it every couple of minutes, 5 minutes here and there. Don't time it. Just, you know, try to be, just keep an eye on it. Stir it a little bit, like I'm doing, and make sure that nothing sticks and that nothing sticks together, and you should be good to go. So that'll be it for this video. As always with every video, be safe, be smart, be happy, wear a damn mask. We will all get through this year just one day at a time. Give me meal requests. Let me know what you want me to make, and I will try my hardest to make that for you. I am considering putting a pork chop recipe on here again for marination. I think I did that once before. I'm considering more chicken meals. I'm considering steak, but my steak recipes are kind of complex, and I don't want to overload you guys. I fully believe you guys can do it, but it's difficult. So this, I like to make simple meals that are kind of cheap. Steak's pricey. So this shouldn't cost you more than $15. If it does, you're doing it wrong. So, and like I said, the mac and cheese you can get from a damn food bank. The sauce you can get from a food bank. The diced tomatoes you can get from a food bank. Some of the vegetables you can probably get those from a food bank. So the meat, probably not, but I've gotten meat from food banks before, so don't quote me on that. So yeah, that's the end of this video. I have other alternatives to the beef. Is canned chicken, which you can get at a food bank, which I have put in these things before, and it comes out splendid. Okay, so you can also get sausage. That works too. You can get those big, like $5 sausages and chop them up and roast them and then put them in there and do that. You can use peppers. Peppers is a great thing too. Those are cheap. Hot dogs, although that's kind of disgusting, I wouldn't recommend it, but some people do that. So yeah, those are some ideas for mac and cheese. Show me yours. Tell me what you like. And like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Have at you, buddies. Take care.